Hey family, I am standing here with a conference attendee. This is Pastor Jonathan Goddin from Greater St. Matthews in Nicetown, Pennsylvania. He tells me that's the hood section. That's why I had never heard of it. And he also told me just to call him John. So we're going to say Pastor John now. Pastor John from Nicetown, Philadelphia, right? How is your first time attending the Power of God Convocation?
I am overwhelmingly excited and just like in awe of the experience. It's been amazing. Yeah. I'm almost lost for words at the worship experience, at the flow, at the excellence that your ministry has here. I've just came out of session with Bishop Evans, and he has just blown my mind.
What was he talking about?
Oh my goodness. He talked to us about transitioning in ministry and how we have to not only take the responsibility in being intentional in our method, but in our message. And when seasons change, we have to be willing to shift as the culture is changing, as the identity in our pews is changing, and as they're becoming more educated and more diverse and more edgy. We have to maintain and continue to reinvent ourselves as we deliver this message. And I mean, you can't ask for a more timely message than what he gave us today.
Yeah, you seem like your hand is on the pulse right now of the economy and what's going on here. Let me ask you, speak out something off the cuff. You know, we ain't practice this part, y'all. So we're gonna see how deep and spiritual he really is. No, just teasing. But your hand is on it right now. How are you feeling, and what are your thoughts right now about the suicide and the depression that's happening and running rampant, not just in the world, but it's actually in the church, you know? And Dr. Bryant made such a good point last night. He said it's okay to have Jesus and a therapist. What are your thoughts?
I felt like the statement was extremely prevalent, and it rang true for me as a human service major. And looking at the idea of how we in Black culture, and then particularly in faith-based groups, how we have chosen to rely on spiritual antics over dealing with the practicality of mental illness, and I love that in this setting, in this environment, that we're speaking to mental illness in churches, in urbanism, in our faith groups, and not only just speaking to mental illness, but we're speaking to so many of the things that contribute to mental struggles, economic struggles, and scholastic struggles, even relational struggles. We're speaking to every one of those things that contribute heavily to mental illness, particularly in urban communities. And I love that it's okay to be crazy and be saved at the same time. You know, it's not a knock. You know, just because I lost my mind a little bit don't mean I don't have Jesus.
Right.
You know,
I got him. He in there somewhere.
And he working with all 12 of the people that live in my head right now.
Say so, Pastor. You know, I do part-time counseling and substance abuse. So that's been my background. And one of the things I've always noticed, and it's going to sound a little crazy, it's like, but traditionally in the church, it's kind of like, oh no, you know, mental illness, that's just a demon. You can pray that out. But when you go outside of the church into substance abuse clinics, or you go to counselors, we have these things called 12 steps. And the first thing that's on there is acknowledging that there is a higher power. So it's always interesting how the world will embrace that when you have these mental illnesses and mental diseases, that you need to pull something down to help you navigate through the challenges. But in the church, traditionally, it's kind of like, you know, just pray it out. There's a little more to it. So I love what you said about, you know, having your hand on it.
And your pastor said it best on your Facebook cast the other day. He said that we demonize what's organic. There are some issues that are just organic, you know. So there are individuals who have histories of mental health issues. More recently, having worked in the funeral business, we saw that sign as we dealt with a young man who committed suicide, and his mother and father both had mental illness issues, and it translated into him and his brothers and even his child. And we're, you know, we can't as spiritual people, we can't rub oil on what can be medicated. We do what we can do. we do what we can do, and then let modern medicine and these various psychological and therapeutic methods work their course. And when we combine them together, spirituality and psychology, and we intermingle psychology and theology, the Lord will do the work